Good morning. Today we will start with the orientation overall, and I'll then talk about my subjects, the subjects that I deal with. Since most of you are going to write all three together, let me just give you a brief picture of the subjects you have and how to approach. Please do not write while I'm explaining. Listen to me, then I'll give you time to write. Now I'm giving you an overview. This I was supposed to do yesterday, but lack of time I could not. For 2, 3, 4 together. This will help you to understand to what extent you have to prepare in a subject with respect to these exams. Now starting off with, I am first going to list the details of all the subjects you have in this. The first subject that you find in your syllabus is current affairs. The second is international relations and events. Please remember, both these are common for 2, 3 and 4. There is no difference between these. So you are going to prepare in the same manner for 2, 3 and 4 as far as these two are concerned. Now what are you going to study for current affairs? We are going to cover current affairs exclusively from 1st January 2022 to till 15 days before your exam. Okay. In detail coverage of this period is important. There might be a few questions that will come before 2022, but usually we cover it in the subject. Now coming to IR and events, this area in group 2 as well as group 4, the maximum weightage has been 6 marks. This is roughly around 20 to 25 marks. Now IR, we divide it into 3 parts. The first part is world history. You need to know all important events, all revolutions. For example, American Revolution, French Revolution, how did it start? When did it take place? What was the outcome? So the highlights of the world history is important because there have been 1 or 2 questions on this. Then you have to know about intergovernmental organizations. For this year, G20 is going to be very, very important. Why? Why is G20 important for this year? India is hosting, so you have to know every detail about G20. Now, the third aspect of it will be India and the world, as in India's relationship with other countries. First, we finish with neighbors. Then we talk about other countries. All important milestones, as in all agreements that have been signed by these countries will be important. This is what we are going to study for IR. And as I said, for 2, 3, 4, this remains the same. There won't be any difference. Now the third area that we talk about is, I come to the core subjects. The first is geography. Now geography for 2 and 3 is mentioned only in paper 1. Basically geography we divide it into world, India, Telangana. Apart from this, we also talk about physical geography. Physical geography is where we talk about concepts related to geography, land forms, water bodies and all those concepts. Now these 3 are there for group 2 and group 3. However, for group 4 you only have India and Telangana. Roughly the weightage of this for group 2 and group 3, they are mentioned in paper 1. Roughly the weightage will not be more than 20 marks. Here it is combined with economy, therefore we can take it as around 15 marks. Okay, so for group 4 we are only going to study Indian and Telangana geography. For group 2 and 3 we have to study all this physical, world, India and Telangana. Now the next area we discuss is Indian history. Now Indian history in your syllabus, Basically we talk about, I'm sure in your school you must have read about ancient, medieval and modern history. First thing that you should remember is, for group 4 you have only modern history. There is no ancient and medieval history. And for group 2, it is, this area is there in both paper 1 and paper 2. In paper 2, its weightage is 30 marks according to the syllabus. Okay, in paper 1 you can roughly, because it is already there in paper 2, you can expect around 10 marks. For group 3, this is mentioned only in paper 1. It is not mentioned in paper 2. The reason why you should always know the weightage is, weightage ni batti you should understand how depth they will ask the questions and how much time you have to give. ఏ ఏరియాకి అయితే ఎక్కువ మార్క్స్ అలొకేట్ అవుతాయో ఆ ఏరియా ఎక్కువ చదవాలి. ఏ ఏరియాలో అయితే తక్కువ మార్క్స్ వస్తాయో that should be given less time. Okay, group 3 roughly we can expect around 15 to 20 questions from Indian history. This is about how Indian history is given in your syllabus. Now the fifth area is polity. Polity, basically the whole subject as it is given for you in group 2 and group 3. In group 2 and group 3 it is a 50 marks area. It is mentioned in paper 2. When we look at this in group 4, they have mentioned only 2 topics. One is, they are talking about salient features of constitution, where we are going to discuss about the salient features, preamble, fundamental rights, fundamental duties and directive principles of state policy. Ante inka dini minchi undadu. And we also discuss about the political system in India. The political system in India is basically about the government in India. How many governments do we have? Union government. Apart from this, you also have constitutional, non-constitutional bodies. Ivanni we discuss under political system, but here it is very, very elaborate. When I come to polity orientation today, I am going to detail the syllabus for you a little later. Now this area for group 4, this is what is mentioned in group 4. This area for group 4, previously nearly 25 questions were asked, because these two are given under 2 separate headings. The focus has been more on local self-government, fundamental rights, directive principles and so on. This is polity. The 6th subject that we have to discuss would be economy, in which you have India and Telangana. India 50 marks, Telangana 50 marks for both 2 and 3. And we all know that there has been substantial change in the syllabus with respect to economy in both India and Telangana. For group 4, this area will have roughly around 15 marks, and they are only they have mentioned both India and Telangana economy, but this is clubbed along with geography, so it won't be more than 15 marks. Okay, 7 is Telangana history. The reason why I am mentioning Telangana history is, for some exams like group 3 and group 4, Telangana history and Telangana movement is given together. For group 2, Telangana history is one paper, Telangana movement is in an other paper. Group 2, the situation is Telangana history comes under paper 2. Okay, weightage is 20 marks, whereas Telangana movement comes under paper 4. How much is the weightage? 150 marks. For group 3, they have clubbed both these areas and they have given it in paper 2 for 50 marks. Okay, for group 4, they have mentioned it in paper 1, roughly with a weightage of around 20 marks. So are we clear with this? How do we differentiate, how do we study for these exams? Again, today I'm going to give you a picture of what all is there in Telangana movement. Then I'll tell you how to study and how questions are being asked. Are you clear with these 7 areas now? First, I'm going to tell you the weightage, then I will go into the details of the subjects I deal with. Please make a note of this. Now, the next area we have to talk about will be sciences and science and technology. See, the reason why I am telling this again is there is a lot of overlap in your syllabus. If you have noticed, I told you that Indian history is mentioned in paper 1 as well as paper 2 in group 2. So, there will be an overlap. Syllabus prakaram chadvadam kante subject wise chadukoni syllabus cover aitunda leda chusukodam better. That way you will be, it will be easy for you. You won't have any confusion. Now, the next area, as I said, is sciences and science and technology. Now, this area is mentioned in group 2 and 3 in paper 1. The recently concluded prelims group 1, we had nearly 20 questions from this, 23 questions uchnai. So, roughly we can expect around 20 marks. Okay, but for group 4, they have only mentioned in paper 1, they have only mentioned sciences. They did not mention science and technology. Roughly around 15 marks could be the weightage. Now, the 9th area is environment and disaster management. All 3, group 2, 3, 4, this is mentioned in paper 1. And these 2 areas combined, you can expect anywhere between 10 to 20 marks. Very, very important, contemporarily relevant, and you'll have more current affairs from these areas. 10, there is a separate topic called Telangana policies. Now, this topic basically is about all policies that the government has envisaged. What do you mean by the term policy? What do you mean by policy? We talk about policy for senior citizens, for children, national education policy. It's not a scheme. There is a difference between policy and scheme. Have you heard of the national education policy? There is a national health policy. There is an industrial policy of Telangana government. What do you mean by policy? Policy is nothing but the vision of the government with the reference to a particular issue like health or education or industry or a particular social group like women, senior citizens. You have a national policy for women, you have a national policy for senior citizens. So, what does the government want to do with respect to health, education or industries? What does the government want to do with respect to women and citizens? What does the government want to do law? You will have, the government wants to frame new laws. The government wants to initiate a new. Are you following? So, laws and schemes will also be a part of policy. Policy is a bigger word. Within policy, what do you want? For example, you all want to prepare for a competitive exam. That is your policy. Now, what all measures do you take to achieve that vision of yours will be your schemes, laws and so on. So, this is Telangana policies. This part will overlap with Telangana economy. It will also overlap with Telangana society for group 2 and group 3. If you read things very properly in economy and society, this topic will be completely covered for you in paper 1. Am I clear with this? And remember, this area is very important because you are getting on an average 10 marks in any exam conducted in Telangana on Telangana policies. Okay, so this is about Telangana policies. The next area that we have is, we call it as development and change. This area is not there for group 4, it is there only for group 2 and 3, and its weightage is, it comes under, for both exams, under paper 3. This paper is basically a combination of environment and economic development. That is the reason why you talk about sustainable development, you also talk about poverty and unemployment in this paper. So this would be only for 2 and 3. And another area where you have exclusivity for 2 and 3 is Indian society and social issues. Deentlo, there is one unit which deals with Telangana, but by and large it is India. This is again in group 2 and 3, and its weightage is again 15 marks. This is not there for group 4. For group 4, group 2, group 3, the common area that you have is, they say Telangana society, culture, literature, and heritage. This topic is there for any exam conducted in Telangana as part of paper 1. It is there for group 2, group 3 and group 4. Now for group 2 and 3, this part again overlaps with, when you talk about heritage, you refer to Telangana history. Okay, it also overlaps with the society paper. Now what are you going to study in this? This is a area which has a weightage of about 10 to 15 marks. Telangana society, basically you have to study the features of Telangana society. Have you heard of something called as Ganga Jamuna Tehzeeb? And problems of Telangana society, like the Devadasi, the Yogini system and so on. Culture is a very broad area. What do you mean by the word culture? How do you understand culture? Meaning enti the culture? Sampradayam, Samskruti ante entiది? Lifestyle. It is correct. Culture is nothing but your way of life. Your culture will include your dialect. What is dialect? This language that you speak. The food habits that we have. Okay. It also includes your festivals. It includes your, the very famous Jataras of Telangana. Okay, it also includes your handicrafts and handlooms. All this will come under culture. Literature is basically about books and authors. Okay, heritage will include all historical monuments. Apart from this, because we have formation of Telangana as a separate paper, you should also read about songs written in that context, the movies taken in that context, and the organizations that were formed. This area is a little vast. You'll have lot of facts here, but this area is important because, as I said, it is 10 to 15 marks. This is your complete syllabus for 2, 3 and 4. I hope this gives a picture of what is the weightage of each area, how much of focus should be there. Clear with this? Make a note of this now.